IKhanWhisper here with another Cooking with Khan video. Today we're going to be making some salmon jerky. This video is from quite a while back now, around when I got my dehydrator and was testing out making different jerkies. And the backstory on this one is I wanted to make some jerky as, just complimentary gifts for family. And my mom at the time wasn't eating like beef or anything that I was making for other people with their beef jerkies. So I wanted to make her something she would eat, so I tried out this salmon jerky for the first time. So here we're just making the marinade for the salmon. This is just a pretty simple one that I've used quite a few times over the years, which is just a base of soy sauce and then some honey, sriracha, and some crushed red pepper. So these obviously aren't the right ratios here. For the sake of time, I cut out a bit of this process, but just involves mixing it together and tasting it and just tweaking it based on how salty you want to be it, how sweet you want it, or how spicy. So just get a nice balance of that. And skipping ahead here, you can see that the color has changed. It's a little bit redder than just the soy sauce color. So I've gone through a few iterations of tweaking it, but here we go. We can set our marinade aside and come back to that when we need it. Just getting set up here. Gonna have a plate for the salmon and a gallon Ziploc bag to put your salmon in to marinate overnight. So, since I want this to be good and, kind of be gift worthy, I opted to get a fresh wild caught salmon from the seafood counter at a local grocery store instead of, most of the salmons are farm raised, and a lot of times are frozen and then thawed out as well. So I'm trying to figure out how to cut it here, because I think I tried, or I guess I didn't, but I know that the skin is going to be the toughest part to cut through, so the tiny knife wasn't really cutting it on that one. No pun intended. But this, I think it's meant for bread, but the serrated knife here is a lot better at cutting through the skin. But, having it down on the meat of the salmon was kind of squishing it a little bit too much. I should probably also make these cuts a little bit smaller, but I usually start out small and then trend towards bigger slices. So, since the skin was being a little problematic, I wanted to see if, some kitchen scissors would work, but they just kind of crush a little bit too much rather than slicing, so they do great on the skin, but definitely don't leave it looking very aesthetically pleasing, as you can see on this last one here. So that by itself, not an option. At this point, my wife's like, let me get in here and take a crack at it with this even bigger kitchen knife, but that one has a much harder time cutting through the skin initially, I think. Or maybe she's just being, delicate to try crush it, but that one also doesn't work too well. So we take a step back and try a different knife first, a little bit more success, but we haven't really found the best procedure here yet. Try to do a little delicate snip there, but I think it was at this point that my wife had the great ideas. Well, maybe not just yet, but coming up soon. But you slice the salmon down to the skin like that, and then you come in with the scissors when it's broken apart, and you can, that first one's still a little messed up from the previous attempt, but this is the pattern that worked very quickly and efficiently for us. Is get a sharp knife, slice down to the skin, kind of bend it apart, and then come in with the scissors and easily snip it away from the skin. And here you can see that process going a lot faster. So that's the best way we found for, easily cutting these out, keeping the salmon meat looking good, and not struggling to cut through that skin on the bottom. So I am leaving the skin on to give it, to keep them like jerky slices, and add more structure to them instead of just having the loose slices of salmon. So I tag back in here to finish things off. My slices start being a lot thicker, but that ends up not being a problem for the salmon, actually. So, same strategy here. I think I didn't bend them as much first, but my wife was probably doing it a little bit better. But same strategy, works well. Able to quickly get in here and get this salmon prepped. So that's the strategy that I would recommend. And I would just recommend doing this. It was pretty, fast and easy. And turned out really well, as we'll see later on. Alright, we got them all cut up, and let's just get them all moved over into the gallon bag. And that's just where we are going to now pour the sauce into. And you want to just let that sit. I think like 6 to 8 hours probably recommended. But I usually do overnight. Just prep it one night, then come back the next day to dehydrate. Just get a solid 6 to 8 hours on there, I think, for best results. Alright. Just mix that up in there, make sure every surface is coated. Looks pretty good. When it's sitting in the fridge, I usually, flip it over a couple times, mix it up a little bit more, just over the course of the time that it's in there. And here we are the next day. So it's been sitting overnight. Looks pretty good. And let's start laying it out on the metal sheets here. Just start evenly spacing them out. So I could have made them thinner. Those are some slices, but dehydrator works pretty well. Yeah, there's one of the earlier cuts where it's a little crushed compared to those later ones that are looking real good. Get them evenly spaced out. Make sure leave like an inch or something between them, just so they have room to give off that moisture. If they're too close, it'll not dehydrate at the same rate. So there we go, we got our first rack pretty done here. Let's get that moved on over. Alright, drop off any excess that you can so you don't get any drips. Move it over. And then got enough for about half a rack more left in the bag. So we'll get that set up and squared away as well. Evenly space them as we did before. I think I did pretty good here, but I'm always tempted to try and like overload the early racks and then have a lot of leftover room at the end. Not so much an issue with the salmon here. Alright, we got everything out here. Drip off any excess and let's get it over to join its friend. I really gave that one a good shake for some reason. But here we go. Got both racks in there, looking good, ready to go. So let's close that. It definitely helps to plug it in first before trying to start it. Alright, here we go. So for fish, it should be 145 degrees Fahrenheit. For, I think I do 8 hours. Let's double check. Let's pan up slightly, there we go. And it looks like 8. So 8 hours at 145 works well for the setup I have here. Look at me awkwardly holding my tripod, but giving you a nice view in here. So, 8 hours later, here's the final product. I think it came out really well. They kept a lot of their original size. They didn't shrivel down. They have the nice, lines on there looking good. And these were a big hit. And, you could actually eat them with the skin on or easily remove them. Something about dehydrating the skin somehow makes it edible, I don't know. But you could easily do either. But yeah, I put these in a mason jar, put a little bow on it, and it was a big hit as a gift. But that's it for this video. I'll leave you guys with the sounds of the cleanup here for a couple minutes. I always have